Chances are you clicked on this video for one of two reasons. One, you are incredibly bored and YouTube just threw this onto your homepage. Two, you're lounging in bed when you really should be doing homework, answering work emails, or cleaning the house. And you're feeling a little guilty about wasting time. Well, you've come to the right place. We live in a culture obsessed with busyness. If you aren't working 40 hours a week, listening to self-improvement podcasts while stuck in highway traffic, or maximizing every single second to optimize your life, you're falling behind. We intuitively believe that for humans to climb to the top of the food chain, our prehistoric ancestors must have worked relentlessly. Hunting mammoths in the morning, fighting off saber-toothed tigers in the afternoon, and only getting to close their eyes when it was pitch black. But science proves the exact opposite. Our ancestors weren't busy at all. In fact, they possessed a secret weapon that shaped all of human civilization, something we are carrying inside our heads right now. But there's a major problem. Our modern habits are destroying it every single day. So, what is this secret? And what really happened in those dark caves tens of thousands of years ago? What did our ancestors do when they got bored? Let's look at the numbers. In a landmark study titled Stone Age Economics, anthropologist Marshall Solins revealed that early hunter-gatherers actually only worked an average of 3 to 4 hours a day. You heard that right? 3 to 4 hours to secure enough calories, set up camp, and repair tools. The rest of the day, they were completely free. No Netflix, no DoorDash, no Amazon Prime to scroll through. They had hours every single day with absolutely no structure or purpose. Solins called them the original affluent society. They had an abundance of the most expensive commodity on earth, time. But the human brain isn't wired to just sit idle like an unplugged machine. When it's not pressured by the stress of survival, it starts to get itchy. It demands stimulation. That underlying restlessness is boredom. And when a highly intelligent creature gets bored, everything begins to change. Around 75,000 years ago in South Africa, someone with absolutely nothing to do picked up a seashell, patiently drilled a tiny hole in it, and created humanity's very first piece of jewelry. Not for any survival advantage, simply because their brain needed to find something to do. But stringing shells together is one thing. What happens when human boredom is pushed to extreme, profound levels, completely isolated from the sunlight? Miles beneath the earth, in Europe, in pitch-black caves with no sound but the echoing drip of water, our ancestors did the unthinkable. In a state of total sensory deprivation, with absolutely nothing to see or hear, their brains began to create their own images, and they used red pigments to paint those visions onto the cave walls. Magnificent bison, herds of wild horses, absolute boredom gave birth to our first great works of art, and perhaps even the very first concepts of religion. But that was tens of thousands of years ago. You're probably thinking, what does this have to do with us? The truth is, the entire modern world you live in is built on the legacy of that idle time. Your brain is exactly the same as the brains of the people painting in those caves. Take Philo Farnsworth, a 14-year-old farm boy from Idaho. He didn't invent electronic television while grinding away in a high-pressure Silicon Valley lab. That massive breakthrough came while he was driving a tractor back and forth across a potato field, hour after hour, a mind-numbingly boring chore. Or Sir Isaac Newton. He didn't discover the law of universal gravitation or the laws of optics while sitting in a university lecture. He figured them out during the 2.5 years he was stuck at home, quarantining from the bubonic plague. No school, no friends, just absolute stillness all around him. When your brain isn't forced to process high-stress tasks, it activates a system called the default mode network, DMN. Imagine it like a V8 muscle car running on idle. When you take your foot off the gas, the engine doesn't just shut down. It hums, vibrating and connecting streams of thought that might seem completely unrelated. Dr. Sandy Mann from the University of Central Lancashire actually conducted an experiment to prove this. She asked one group of people to do the most tedious task imaginable, manually copy phone numbers out of a phone directory for 15 minutes. A second group got it even worse. Their job was simply to sit and watch people copy the directory. Afterward, she asked them to come up with as many uses as possible for a plastic cup. The results? The group forced to endure the absolute highest levels of boredom generated the most highly creative and out-of-the-box ideas, completely blowing the control group away. Boredom didn't numb their brains, it forced their minds to unlock entirely new doors. We literally call these shower thoughts, because the shower is one of the rare places left in our day where we can't bring our phones. That is the exact tragedy of our modern times. Every time we wait for a coffee at Starbucks, every time we sit on the subway, every time a quiet moment is about to strike, we immediately pull out our phones. With just a few swipes on TikTok or Instagram, our brains are instantly fed cheap hits of dopamine. We snuff out boredom before it even has a chance to form. We are single-handedly shutting down the default mode network, the very wellspring of greatness, empathy, and creativity that has existed for 300,000 years. So, the next time you find yourself zoning out on the couch and that itchy, restless feeling starts to creep in, don't be so quick to run away from it. Don't rush to fill that void with a short video, and don't immediately reach for the phone in your pocket. Just let the restlessness rise. Embrace the silence of having nothing to do and just let yourself sink into it. Let your brain wander freely in the dark, exactly the way our ancestors once did. Because you aren't being lazy and you aren't being useless. You are simply engaging in a biological ritual that dates back tens of thousands of years, allowing your mind to return to its most brilliant state. Idleness, in fact, is humanity's greatest evolutionary privilege. Greatness, sometimes, begins with the courage to do absolutely nothing. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end of the video. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever struck upon a brilliant idea, a breakthrough solution, or just a crazy wild thought while you were in the shower, washing the dishes, or zoning out in traffic? Share your story down in the comments below. Who knows, we might just find a modern-day Isaac Newton hiding down there. And if this video gave you an interesting new perspective, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It is a massive source of motivation for our production team to keep digging deeper and bringing you even higher quality content in the future. See you in the next video. But for now, try putting your screen down and enjoy a little bit of boredom.